and all stakeholders of the university. Also, we thank you for the height that you brought the University of Cape Coast up to. We commit today's special congregation in honor of His Royal Majesty Otumfour Osei II into your hands. We ask that may you make it a success. We ask for your presence. We thank you for an answered prayer. This we pray in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
We shall sing the national anthem. Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this special congregation in honor of His Royal Majesty Otumfour Osei II, the Asante. His Royal Majesty will be conferred with an honorary Doctor of Laws degree for distinguishing himself as a guardian of heritage and culture and traditional leader. My name is Akusiachi Abiyasaki. I work with the Directorate of Public Affairs, and I'm pleased to be your MC. To formally open this special congregation and deliver the welcome address, help me welcome the Chancellor of UCC, Dr. Sir Sam Eson Jonah.
University Government Council, Vice Chancellor, past Vice Chancellors, Vice Chancellors of sister universities, Honorable Central Regional Minister, Minister, Supervising Minister of Education, Osaberima, Dr. Christiata, the second Mahine of Ubacha area, members of the University Council, Ministers of State, members of the Judiciary, members of the Diplomatic Corps, the Pro-Vice Chancellor, past Pro-Vice Chancellors, and Pro-Vice Chancellors of sister universities, acting Registrar and Registrar of sister universities, Nana Kwekuelu, the third Maria of Ubacha area, Nana members of Parliament, representatives of political parties, the clergy, members of convocation, staff, students, and alumni of this great university, honored guests, the media, good morning. It is with profound honor and privilege that I welcome all of you to this university, the University of Competitive Choice. Today we gather here for a momentous occasion, a special congregation convened to confer an honorary doctorate degree upon His Royal Majesty Otumfour Osei II. This event is for our university, but for the university, for the nation, and Africa, the Africa continent as a whole. As the Chancellor of this esteemed university, I'm deeply aware of the responsibilities this ceremony carries. Today we honor
one of Africa's most revered traditional leaders, a man whose influence transcends borders and generations, His Royal Majesty Osei Tutu II. Osei Tutu II, Otumfour, is often likened to the biblical King Solomon, renowned for his unmatched wisdom, discernment, and visionary leadership. His reign has been marked by an unwavering commitment to justice, peace, and social and economic development of his people. His Royal Majesty's leadership indeed extends far beyond Asantuma, resonating across Ghana, West Africa, and the global stage. Ladies and gentlemen, it is often said that great leaders are not defined by the power they wield, but by the wisdom they show in times of trial. His Majesty embodies this truth. His reign has been a continuous demonstration of navigating complex issues with a blend of traditional wisdom and modern pragmatism. His ability to unite people from all walks of life has earned him profound respect and admiration globally. In a republic like ours, traditional powers have evolved within the framework of a modern state. The challenge for any leader of Otumfour stature lies in balancing his whole role while respecting the sovereignty of the state and maintaining the cultural heritage of his people. His Majesty has navigated this role with unparalleled skill, embodying a delicate balance between tradition and modern governance. His wisdom and impartiality have earned him the trust of political leaders across all parties who often seek his counsel. His Majesty's non-partisanship has ensured that his influence remains a stabilizing force rather than a partisan one, making him indeed a beacon of unity. His unwavering commitment to the pursuit of justice, peace, and unity is self-evident. Indeed, upon ascending to the golden stool, His Majesty made it his mission to address the many chieftaincy disputes that plague the Asante state. His bold initiatives brought stability to areas once marked by division and conflict. His leadership in these matters is a testament to his deep commitment and understanding of the traditional governance and his dedication to the welfare of his people. Indeed, one of the most remarkable examples of the leadership is the pivotal role he played in restoring peace in the Dagon traditional camp area. As chairman, it took too long. As chairman of the Committee of Eminent Chiefs, His Majesty facilitated the negotiations between the Andani and the Abudu royal families, culminating in a historic peace agreement in 2019. This monumental achievement not only restored harmony in Ghana, but reinforced its stature as a national unifier. And let me just say this, he's always been known as a visionary leader in education and development. Beyond his contribution to peace and justice, Osei Tutu II, Otumfour, has been an unwavering advocate for education and economic development. Recognizing the transformative power of education, he established the Otumfour Education Fund shortly after his 2. This fund, I'm happy to say, has provided scholarships and bursaries to over 300,000 students, enabling countless young Ghanaians from all regions and from all tribes to access quality education and contribute to the intellectual and economic growth of our nation. His commitment for a vision for economic development is equally commendable. In 2019, he unveiled a 10-point development plan for Majesty, aimed at industrializing the local economy, creating jobs, and fostering wealth within the region. This plan serves, I'm pleased to say, as a model for sustainable development across the country. Don't be shy, don't be shy. Our honoree is a statesman of global reach. His influence extends far beyond the borders of this country. His timely interventions in matters of national and international importance have had almost and his unwavering commitment to promoting unity, justice, and development in Asantuma and beyond. And it is my immense pleasure and privilege for the University of Cape Coast, the top-ranked university in Ghana and West Africa, that means I should repeat. The top-ranked university. To be associated with such an illustrious leader. Before I invoke the powers that have been vested in me, I want to acknowledge the presence here of my dear wife. Now that I've settled my domestic dispute, by the powers vested in me as the Chancellor of this university, I hereby constitute the Assembly into a special congregation for the purpose of conferring the degree of Doctor of Letters in
Thank you very much, Dr. Sir Chancellor. I will ask that we all rise as we sing the UCC anthem. To the Vice Chancellor's address, help me welcome Professor Johnson Yankwa.
Ministers of State and Ministers of the University of Nana Kekwe, the third Maria Otumfour traditional area, Nana Amba Ayaba, Otumfour Otumfour traditional area, Nana President, Professor Professor Rosemond Abuadu, the Pro-Vice Chancellor of the University of Cape Coast, Mr. Ebenezer Ivory, Acting Registrar, Vice Chancellors of Sister Universities, Pro-Vice Chancellors of Sister Universities present, former Vice Chancellors, Executive Secretary of VCE, Provost, Deans, Director of the conferment of honorary doctorate degree on His Royal Majesty, Otumfour Osei Tutu II, the Asante. I wish on behalf of the Governing Council of the University of Cape Coast and management to add my voice to that of Chancellor of the University of Cape Coast to welcome all our guests from far and near who have come to witness this historic occasion. Sir Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, awarding honorary degrees to deserving individuals by higher institutions of learning has a long history and has been a tradition since the Middle Ages. The practice, scholars tell us, is said to have begun early in the 15th century, and since then, it has become increasingly common to see institutions of higher learning across the globe awarding honorary degrees to distinguished individuals. Sir Chancellor, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, all over the world, the criteria for determining who qualifies for the award of honorary degree have been varied. In many instances, varied opinions have generated a great deal of debate, but by and large, the basic underlying principle has been to consider accomplishments, to look out for people with an outstanding intellectual and academic work of an exceptional and exemplary nature. Consideration has also been given to a person's distinctive creativity and contribution to the general welfare of society. In some cases also, service to the public with outstanding leadership in education, business, public service, or other appropriate sectors of society has attracted attention for consideration. Many people have also been awarded for their special service to the very institutions that are awarding them. Sir Chancellor, many institutions of higher learning across the globe, particularly in Africa, have in the past awarded honorary degrees to traditional rulers and chiefs for their exemplary leadership and contribution to their respective societies. Consistent with global practices, the University of Cape Coast has a rich tradition of recognizing excellence and achievements, and has in the past awarded honorary degrees to distinguished individuals, many of whom have contributed significantly to the advancement of society. So today's award ceremony will not be the first. However, this will be the third time the University of Cape Coast is conferring an honorary degree on traditional rulers in Ghana. The first was Honorable Paramount Chief of Asin Orange Traditional Area, followed quite recently by our landlord, Osei Dr. Majesty II. All from the Central Region. In this ceremony, the university will confer an honorary degree on His Royal Majesty Otumfour Osei. This will be the first award conferred for the King outside the Central Region by the University of Cape Coast. What makes today's award ceremony significant, however, is the fact that it is the first time the university community is publicly acknowledging the contribution of Asante. Sir Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, the contributions of our traditional rulers and chiefs to the advancement of African societies have long been acknowledged and in most cases celebrated. Although the place of traditional rulers in modern democratic governance is still a subject of debate, what is increasingly clear is that many still find traditional rulers or chiefs as critical stakeholders, but in most cases, chiefs and traditional rulers still play an important role in the lives of many Africans. In many countries, traditional rulers play a preeminent role as mediators of violent conflict and champions of community development and transformation. It is in recognition of this important role of the institution of chieftaincy that the 1992 270 guarantees the institution of chieftaincy together with its traditional councils as established by customary law and usage. Sir Chancellor, consistent with global practices, I'm happy to inform you and all here in Ghana that the management of the University of Cape Coast, on behalf of its academic and social community, finds His Royal Majesty Otumfour Osei II more qualified by these parameters to receive the degree of Doctor of Letters honorary course. Sir Chancellor, by the conferment of the degree on His Royal Majesty Otumfour Osei II, he becomes an alumnus of the University of Cape Coast, the University of Cape. Other past honorary recipients from our university include His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, the President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency John Kufuor, former President of the Republic of Ghana, Osei, Dr. Majesty II, Omahe of the traditional areas, among others. Sir Chancellor, I wish to draw your attention to the fact that the University of Cape Coast mandate, in the collective wisdom of its founders in the 1960s, was to champion the training of the country's teaching workforce. Although, with the passage of time and in response to the global trends, we have expanded our programs to accommodate other disciplines. We are still committed to our traditional core mandates of teaching, research, and providing academic leadership within the educational Lastly, Sir Chancellor, on assuming office as the Vice Chancellor of this university, my mission has been to empower UCC graduates to have entrepreneurial competencies in line with the government policy initiative on intended to reduce graduate unemployment and promote job creation. Sir Chancellor, in May 2021, at a similar ceremony, I pledged our determination to complete all outstanding projects to enhance conducive academic environment. I'm happy to report that we have completed some of the projects, others are ongoing and near completion. Sir Chancellor, it is noteworthy to inform this August gathering that on Wednesday, 27 September 2023, the Times Higher Education released 20th edition of the World University Rankings, which constituted the 2024 World University Ranking results. The Times Higher Education World University Ranking is the most prestigious global university rankings among others. Sir Chancellor, I'm delighted to inform you that the 2024 World University Rankings had data submissions from 2,673 institutions across 108 countries, out of which 1,904 universities qualified to be ranked. The University of Cape Coast has retained its position as the topmost ranked university in Ghana. Not only Ghana, West Africa, and the 7th on the African continent. The University of Cape Coast is also the only university in Ghana and West Africa that is in the top ranked universities in Africa. UCC has also maintained its position as one of the leading research-intensive universities globally. As an academic center of excellence, it is therefore justifiable to recognize and award an excellent leader of our time, His Majesty Otumfour Osei II, an honorary doctorate degree. Your Majesty, your leadership, vision, and unwavering dedication have profoundly impacted both your kingdom and the broader world. Otumfour Osei II has achieved a lot in his lifetime as a great leader that time and space will not permit me to mention. Sir Chancellor, permit me to say that on behalf of the Governing Council, management, staff, and faculty of the University of Cape Coast, we salute Otumfour Osei II for his meritorious and distinguished service to the nation, particularly his commitment to promoting unity and development in Asantuma and other regions, as well as his significant contribution to humanity in the areas of water and sanitation, health, education, entrepreneurship, peace building, culture, and heritage. Your Majesty, as we bestow upon you this honorary degree, we are not only recognizing your profound contribution to Ghana, but also the invaluable lessons your reign has offered us in peace building. The university's academic standards have soared, elevating our global ranking and attracting scholars and students from around the world. These achievements have positioned UCC as a beacon of higher education in Africa. Today, however, we face new challenges, ones that threaten to unravel the progress we have made. Recent attempts to undermine the leadership of the Vice Chancellor are reminiscent of the uncertainties that once plagued our university. Such actions, driven by external pressures, risk plunging us back into an era of confusion and instability. It is at this critical juncture that we turn to your leadership, Your Majesty. We face challenges today, particularly within our beloved University of Faith. We are reminded of the need for unity and wise leadership. The turbulence that once characterized our university's past threatens to re-emerge. But it is through the guidance of leaders like Otumfour, Tutu, the second, that we can navigate difficult times. His Majesty's presence here today is not only celebration of this achievement, but also a call to action. We must draw from the shared history, embrace our differences, and work together to ensure that the University of Cape Coast remains a beacon of excellence. Your Majesty, we invite you to join forces with our respected Chancellor, Sam, Jonah, and Osei the II, Omahino Puga traditional area in leading efforts to maintain peace and stability at the University of Cape Coast. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in celebrating His Majesty Otumfour Osei II, a leader of extraordinary vision and beacon of hope for us all. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. Future shortly you will witness the conferment of the honorary degree on His Royal Majesty Otumfour Osei II. Ahead of that, we're going to have a musical rendition by 7 from the Department of Music. course for 7 from the Department of Hello, Otumfour Osei Tutu the second, known in private life as very much were born on the 6th May 1950 as the youngest son of 5 children of Nana Ifuaku-Sewa Ampum the second, Asante Hima, Queen Mother of Asante from 1977 to 2016. A direct descendant of the founder of the Asante Kingdom, Osei Tutu the first, you ascended the golden stool on 26 April 1999 as the 16th Asante King. From early childhood, you came under the tutelage of your uncle, Ohineba Mensah, who sought your childhood development through careful grooming in Asante traditions and statecraft. In 1964, you started your elementary education. Your secondary school education took you to Security Secondary School in the Western North region of Ghana, but you returned to Kumasi in 1969 and enrolled at the Osei Free Trade Secondary School. In 1971, you moved to Accra to continue your education at the Institute of Professional Studies, Legon, for a course in accountancy. 2 years later, you journeyed to the United Kingdom to continue with your accountancy studies at the Kilburn Polytechnic. Later, you attended the University of North London, where you studied human resource development and public administration. Your Majesty, you returned to Ghana in 1989 to establish your own business, Transformet International, Ghana Limited. Your international exposure paved the way for you to gather a wealth of experience as senior consultant with Mutual of Omaha Insurance Company of Toronto in 1981 as a motivation for those around you. Your diplomacy and tact among your peers is easily recognizable and complements your traditional leadership qualities towards reconciliation. Prempeh I was exiled to by the British for resisting their imperialism during his reign. To encourage religious dialogue, you addressed the Chatham House in the United Kingdom on the need for a forum for dialogue among the various religions and proposed the creation of a forum akin to the World Economic Forum for the pursuit of such a dialogue. Among many plaudits, Your Majesty, you stand out as an astute statesman with high pedigree in the foundation of cooperation in both traditional and modern trends. You have initiated projects that have put your traditional leaders into a new learning process that enables them to lead their people in community development programs, as well as create awareness of the value of our cultural heritage, including arts and artifacts, as well as the traditional cost systems in conflict resolution. Your Majesty, the unique brand of your leadership has endeared you to Asante in particular and Ghana as a whole. As Asante Hene, you have instilled peace and stability in your governance style among your people, as well as encouraged them to pursue arbitration instead of litigation, especially in numerous land and succession disputes that have plagued Asante man for decades. Over the period of your reign, Asante Hene, you have brought peace and reconciliation to Asante. Your ability to settle over 500 land and chieftaincy disputes, which could have sparked agitations among your people and elsewhere, is commendable. You remain one of Ghana's most sought-after leaders in traditional matters. As a traditional leader, your leadership and negotiation skills
came to the fore when the state, recognizing the respect that you exude, made you the arbiter of peace in Dadon and appointed you chairman of a committee of eminent chiefs to resolve the Yendi scheme affairs, a task you successfully accomplished to the admiration of all, including the feuding parties. In recognition of your immense knowledge and contribution to education, government appointed you Chancellor of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Kumasi. You also served as one vision and tenacity of purpose in health and economic development. Among other things, you have taken a number of initiatives to the benefit of many people. Some of these include the Otumfour Education Fund to generate resources as an effort to provide opportunities for quality primary, secondary, tertiary, and vocational education in Asante and Ghana as a whole. In 2000, you embarked upon a vigorous campaign to draw attention to the benefits of individual and group sponsorship of the education of orphan children. Since its inception, the Otumfour Education Fund has benefited over 100,000 students at various levels of education. The measure of the above foundations and include financial and material support for the reduction of maternal and infant mortality, glaucoma, and other eye diseases, Ruli ulcer, which has become the University of Science and Technology, 15 December 2001, University of Ghana, Legon, 12 March 2004, Ibilidon, East London, 3 September 2003. As part of your efforts towards promoting partnership with traditional authorities, you secured a World Bank grant with the approval of the government of Ghana for a pilot project entitled Promoting Partnership with Traditional Authorities Project. This singular initiative has challenged traditional leaders to demonstrate their capacity by using their own resources to augment the financial support made available by either the government or the World Bank to help develop their respective communities. Under the project, new school buildings have been built, old ones rehabilitated, and teachers' residential quarters constructed and provided with potable water and electricity. HIV/AIDS and general health campaign in cooperation with the state agencies has been stepped up in the rural areas too. Your Majesty, you have drawn to yourself many world leaders, including being the guest and host of Queen Elizabeth II of Great Britain, Queen Beatrice of Poland, His Excellency Muslimu Kofi Annan, former UN Secretary General, President Thabo Mbeki of South Africa, President Nelson Mandela of South Africa, Mr. Don Makinun, Commonwealth Secretary General, the President of Ethiopia, the Holy Father Pope Francis, the Archbishop of Canterbury, Right Reverend Justin Welby, President Al-Hadi Tilani Kaba of Sierra Leone, President Muammar al-Gaddafi of Libya, King Mohammed VI of Morocco, President Horst Kohler of Germany, President Jakaya Kikwete of Tanzania, King Mswati III of Swaziland, Alpha Konari of Mali, Blaise Compaoré of Burkina Faso, Laurent Gbagbo of Cote d'Ivoire, Mercedes David Wolfowitz and James Wolfson, both former presidents of the World Bank, Prince Al-Wahid bin Talal bin Abdul Aziz Al Saud of Saudi Arabia, His Royal Highness Prince William Alexander of Netherlands, Head of Worldwide Ahmadiyya Muslim Mission, the Archbishop of Canterbury, King of Bafokeng of South Africa, President Levi Mwanawasa of Zambia, Sabasaj Roland Muwenda Mutebi II, the Kabaka of Uganda in Uganda, Mr. Nkapa, former President of Tanzania, and Princess Mahan Chakri Supun, Crown Princess of Thailand. Your Majesty, you have the privilege of addressing international and national fora and a number of business gatherings in Africa, Europe, and the United States. These include the International Cocoa Organization, London, the plenary session of the Economic Commission of Africa, Addis Ababa, the Distinguished Africa Address at Harvard University, the United Nations General Assembly High-Level Forum on the Culture of Peace in New York as keynote speaker on 30 September 2019. Bilateral talks with the President of the World Bank Group, Mr. David Malpass, in Washington. Additionally, you address students at the China Foreign Affairs University in China at the invitation of Chinese People's Association for Friendship with Foreign Countries and the African Forum for Heads of States hosted by the President of Germany. Your Majesty, you also visited the International Tribunal for Rwanda, where you had discussions with members of the tribunal and exchanged ideas on alternative conflict resolution in Africa. Your Majesty, you established the Santiman Economic Revitalization Fund to promote private and corporate investment in local industries, reforestation, and irrigation programs. Your reign as Asantehene has seen rapid growth and development of Asanteman and its environs in health, education, agriculture, and business. The unity of purpose and discipline among your subjects is an admirable trait of a wise leader. Your Majesty, Otumfour Osei Tutu II, the University of Cape Coast salutes you for your meritorious and distinguished service to the nation, especially your commitment to promoting unity and development in Asanteman and other regions, as well as your significant contribution to humanity in the areas of water and sanitation, health, education, entrepreneurship, culture, and heritage. Purveyor of traditional jurisprudence, advocate of rule of law, promoter of peace and stability, visionary and generational thinker, entrepreneur, advocate for preservation of culture and heritage, statesman, distinguished traditional leader and role model. Please step forward to receive your degree of doctor.
Congratulations, Your Royal Majesty. At this point, we would listen to the acceptance speech by His Royal Majesty Otumfour, Dr. Osei Tutu II.
ahead without going through what you said in terms of recognizing people here in relation to protocol.
So,
let me express my profound gratitude to the Chancellor, Chair, members of Council of this great institution for the honor bestowed on me this morning.
so,
It is an honor I accept with humility and proudly share with Nana, whose joint efforts have contributed to everything we have achieved in the 25 years of our and they are well represented here with my brother, Gabin, who is chairman of the Council of State. They've all been very supportive of me with this the last 25 years.
so,
The establishment of one institution may not emancipate and Wesley girls who to the Southern Village. Holy Child, the Church and the Anglican Church led the way in providing the best in education.
so,
This university, on which we have to depend for the training and sandy beaches, millions of the best brains in our land have been molded, have grown the best talents who have kept the administration of our nation.
so,
This university began life in 1962 as the University College of Education, in a special relationship with the University of Ghana, Lagos, with the prime mandate of producing graduate teachers to meet the manpower needs of the Ghana Education Service.
so,
It seems unbelievable today to recall that its total enrollment as at that time was 155 students, split between two departments, the Department of Science and the Arts. And the whole concept was deemed controversial in some circles. However, it survived the political upheavals of the period, and in 1971, it attained the status of a fully fledged university with the right to grant its own degrees.
so,
The mandate of the university was expanded beyond the needs of education, and today it is a burden community of over 75,000 students from all disciplines.
so,
The founding fathers and their pioneering administrators have every reason to be proud of what they have bequeathed to the nation. And long may we continue to herald the achievements of this university. But even as we exalt these achievements and honor those whose hard work has made it possible, we cannot but pause and reflect on the fates and fortunes of the subject for which this university was created, and I speak of education.
so,
It remains quite problematic to me that 60 years down the line, we are still grappling with the same challenges that informed the decision to establish this university in the first place.
so,
Some historical background may be appropriate here. Although the Gold Coast carried the type of a model colony, less than 10% of our population had been to school by 1951, when the people were allowed to elect the first nationalist government led by Dr. Kwame under the limited self-rule mandate.
so,
The government took the view that education was the key to the development of the country, and consequently launched the accelerated education program to accelerate the pace and level of education.
so,
Additionally, a program of adult education was launched to drive the home mass literacy. In 1951, total enrollment in primary schools was 154,000, middle schools 66,000, secondary and technical schools 3,550, teacher training colleges 1,960. The total enrollment of the University College, the forerunner of the University of Ghana, Legon, was 208 students. By 1961, enrollment had zoomed to over 210% for primary schools, 142% for middle schools, a staggering 438% for secondary and technical schools. The bulk of this expansion was funded by the state. Indeed, even the churches, which had been carrying the financial burden of education at the height of the colonial administration, were required to gradually disengage.
so,
Following the overthrow of the First Republic, the eminent scholar Professor Alex Apon headed a commission to undertake the first of what has become a seemingly unending series of reforms of the education system. The Papon Committee recommended the adoption of 6 years of primary school followed by 4 years of secondary education with 2 years of advanced education leading to a 3-year university course.
So,
Less than 4 years after the Papon reforms, another military coup led to the establishment of another committee, this time led by the Dean of the Faculty of Education of this university, Professor N.K. Zobo, to review the reform. The Professor Zobo Committee made social equity a fundamental thrust in the delivery of sound educational outcomes, arguing against the common entrance examination for the selection of pupils for secondary schools as skewed in favor of children of the elite in society.
so,
Specifically, it recommends must split the secondary system into 3 years of junior high school and 2 years of senior secondary school lower division and 2 years of senior secondary upper division.
so,
The Zobo report formed the basis for the far-reaching reforms of 1987. In preparing for the restoration of constitutional rule in 1992, the Republican Constitution provided for free compulsory education for all children of school age within 10 years.
so,
The new government led by Flight Lieutenant Rawlinson's government launched a program of free compulsory universal education in 1996.
so,
In a seminal study for the British Department of International Development, Nimue Thompson and Leslie Kasiefo observed in 2008. Broadly, the objectives of FQ were in line with the recommendations of the World Declaration on Education for All, adopted after the World Bank UN-sponsored World Conference on Education for All in Thailand in 1990. The declaration stated that every person, child, youth, and adult shall be able to benefit from educational opportunities designed to meet their basic learning needs, and all countries were required to achieve universal basic education by the year 2000.
so,
The rollout of FQ was followed by a National Education Forum in November 1999 to examine the prospects of Ghana moving towards compliance with the World Declaration on Education for All. Barely 2 or 3 years after, in 2002, another education sector review was undertaken to examine the outcome. Is that each review has either been driven by austerity or constrained by fiscal malice and not do more. But it doesn't have adequate funds to do what we want to do.
so,
There is no doubt that the free senior high school program is the most audacious piece of covered primary education and later the university. Then they should be entitled to the same level of basic education as children in other climates. Since basic education elsewhere encompasses secondary or high school, it is only fair that therefore offering free senior high school is doing no more than meeting the obligation to provide the basic education for basic academic skills.
so,
Surveys in a number of low-income countries document that many adults who have received some schooling 5, 6 years or less, Ghana identifies with, and it buttresses the case for upscaling basic education.
so,
But this cannot be that simple. It only underscores the enormity of the challenge associated with the changing dynamics of education and nation building in our times.
so,
Ghanaians accept education as a basic right of every child. All nations signed up to the United Nations and its agencies to provide as a human right. It is an economic necessity, an investment in the economic and social well-being of every nation. The point that as a productive, responsible member of society as a whole, not to mention the individual child, loses. The cost of educating children is far outweighed by the cost of not educating them.
so,
Yet, though the cost of not providing education would ultimately be higher, nations have to contend in the first place with the overriding problem of mobilizing the resources needed to invest in education. Without the resources, even our most desirable goals cannot be achieved, and that sadly has been the problem not only for Ghana but for Africa. It is the reason we are obliged to make sure that our ambitions are matched by our pockets.
Sure.
As we have already noted, every educational reform undertaken in Ghana has been driven by financial constraints arising from national economic matters. Whereas in the developed world, educational reforms are undertaken to ensure the content of education matches the economic and social needs of society. Here we are driven solely by what is available to spend in the fiscal space.
Sure.
It is for this reason that even an audacious scheme like the Free Senior High School, as I mentioned, which one would expect to receive universal acclamation, has instead been mired in some controversy. Malice of the economy. And yet, even with that program, Ghana has yet to reach the universal benchmark for national spending on education as a percentage of gross domestic product.
Sure.
In the latest UNESCO World Education Finance Watch Report of 2024, the scorecard which monitors progress towards achieving the universal benchmark for spending on education showed that abroad, only the high-income countries are more likely to be classified as either having achieved or having a high probability of 75% of achieving the 2025 benchmark for spending on education.
Sure.
The good news for us, however, is that Ghana is one of the only 15 developing countries confirmed as being on track to reach the benchmark in 2025.
Sure.
In effect, assuming the current program continues, we should meet the universal benchmark for spending on education to GDP. That certainly should be welcome. And if the focus is on the rebalance of resources, the effect may well stare at more heat than light.
Sure.
Every dramatic issue at the secondary level has a huge impact on the tertiary sector. And yet, at no time have we seen an attempt to coordinate the implementation of any secondary sector reform of the universities. When at a stroke, enrollment in senior high schools are doubled, the universities have to brace themselves for an inevitable surge in demand for undergraduate studies, with no prior consideration for its effect on fiscal resources. Our universities are already bursting at the seams, with rising student population virtually overwhelming fiscal resources and infrastructure.
Sure.
It should be obvious that important as the senior high school may be, focus on it should not lead to a misalignment of resources, nor should it become the focus of all attention in national discourse. Rather, we should recognize the necessity to look at the challenge of education in its totality. First, we may do well to re-examine the structure of the education system from primary to secondary to tertiary education. Is the separation between junior and senior high school working? What has become of the products of junior high school who are unable to proceed to senior high school? How functional have the vocational institutes become? How relevant have they been in the job market? Is the system providing for the critical middle level needs as we expected the polytechnic and technical universities to provide?
Sure.
Secondly, we need another look critically at the financing of education. What resources are available and how they are allocated to the various levels to ensure equity. This is at the root of all the discourse. Education is an expensive investment. The expenditure on buildings alone is huge, but buildings alone do not provide education. It means to provide the basic ICT skills. And we should ensure our teachers are reasonably remunerated for the critical service they provide.
Sure. Sure.
Thirdly, we need to reoperate the content of education from pre-tertiary to tertiary to see how far they go to meet the needs of the economy and society in this particular world.
Sure.
There are many areas of the system crying for updating and many anomalies requiring correction. The ongoing prioritizing of STEM education is a step in the right direction, but it is necessary to caution about the risk of restricting it to an elite class and leaving. We should ensure equal opportunities for all to acquire these vital skills in their education journey.
Sure.
Education must lead the nation's response to the incredible challenges of climate change.
Sure.
If we are to fully appreciate the gravity of the threat to our planet and and come to terms with what needs to be done to obviate the consequences, our education system must infuse in us, from the pre-primary stage to the tertiary, the science and the knowledge which should guide our actions. It is the only way we are going to make it possible for our communities to appreciate the necessity to protect our forests and our river bodies and restore the respect which our forefathers had for their environment. So, we need to reflect seriously on how we refocus education to guide us towards a sustainable world. So, I'm sure this audience will share the need for considerable reappraisals at the tertiary level to ensure our universities are fully aligned to the needs of society. It is right for the nation that we seek to maintain high standards in our universities, but it will be astonishing to demand higher entry requirements for some courses than the renowned Ivy League and Oxford universities in the United States and Europe. So I find it incomprehensible that we have deliberately capped the number of students our universities should admit for medicine and law, even though we have a huge vacancy of doctors and a abundant number of students who have met all the qualifying standards. So we have students to Europe and other places to study medicine abroad, and then return to be employed by the Ghana Health Service. So, assuming there are some impediments in the way of increasing the intake of students, would it not make more sense to remove those impediments to allow for all qualified students to gain admission, and perhaps offer space for foreign students who pay to no avail unless we can get the national economy into good shape? So, it remains important that only the state can deliver a sustainable economy and generate the needed resources. So, because education is so critical for the state, and the state is correspondingly critical for education, I see the need for a special kind of relationship. So, Mr. Chancellor, Chair, you will be aware that we made education the focus of our brain when we ascended the Gold Institute 25 years ago. So, as a concrete expression of our commitment, we established our education fund, which has become an example of the support that education can derive from non-state actors. So, I've also had the privilege to be the Chancellor of Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. As Chancellor, by the way, I was appointed by the university, not the government. So, as Chancellor, I've had the task of lending support to the university establishment as it struggles to obtain the resources they need in pursuit of their goals, while through the education fund, we have tried to demonstrate what non-state actors within the community can do to generate resources to support education. So, combining the role of both the mobilizer and consumer of educational resources has given me a perspective from which to ponder some troubling questions. So, is education delivering the goals and objectives for Ghana? Has education delivered the intended outcomes? Has education justified the sacrifices that are demanded of the people? Has Ghana education been truly fit for purpose? If these questions come as a shock to the nation, and probably more so to this audience, it can only be because we have avoided the need for continuous critical evaluation of the outcome of our investments, not only in education but in several other spheres. So, regardless of the lapses and shortfalls, it is incontrovertible that as a nation, Ghana has invested enormous resources in education. The explosion in tertiary education has produced a multitude of highly educated men and women with the skills set to manage and direct the affairs of the nation. So, in every sector of our society, our affairs are in the hands of actors who are not just educated but highly qualified. So, our political class, at both executive and the legislative levels, with responsibility for policy formulation and direction, is led and dominated by men and women who are highly educated. We have a judicial service which is very highly educated. Our banks and insurance services are highly educated. Our civil service is highly educated. Our customs and internal revenue service actors are very highly educated. Our police and security services are highly educated. Our military is highly educated. Logically, you would expect this output of highly educated leaders to translate into greater efficiency in the management of our affairs, particularly in the management of the national economy. So when I hear the endless lamentations about our economy is in distress, when I see our legislature in Great unable to agree on issues of national interest, when I'm told about the decline in public confidence in law enforcement, I can't help asking myself, is that what education can deliver for all our investment and all our sacrifices? We should not forget that financing education has required enormous sacrifices. Through the worst of economic circumstances, the state has been obliged to devote a considerable percentage of our tax revenue to education. Ironically, the bulk of this revenue will come from farmers, some of whom are the least educated and probably the poorer section of society. So we have the incongruous situation of the poor financing the education of the rich. Finally, we have the personal sacrifices parents make in the education of their wards. All these sacrifices are justified as investments in the future well-being of the wards and society as a whole. But if the outcome of education is to produce an army of skilled and able young men and women who cannot find jobs to apply their acquired skills, and if continually we are confronted about competency in the management of our resources, as we raise the question, we do not seek to cast doubt on the value of education per se. We are rather probing the nation, and particularly academia, to be alive to the necessity of undertaking a rigorous evaluation of the outcome of education relative to the benefits accruing to the nation, to give us the tools to correct any lapses before public confidence is eroded. In fact, the situation we face reinforces the need for a special relationship between academia and the state. There was a period in our history during the First Republic when academia was deemed to be closeted in an ivory tower, a distance away from the real world. That is no longer an issue. You are as integrated into society and in tune with its force as it is possible to be. You are the teachers who are preparing and mentoring the men and women who are taking control of our lives. As political leaders, journalists, economists, bankers, mandarins, diplomats, military and police officers. As teachers, you are like parents who should have a lifetime interest in the performance of your students. As their success inspires you, so their failure should burden you. Beyond the personal relationship between teacher and student, there's an even greater linkage that needs to be strengthened. The university is the storehouse of knowledge. All the knowledge required for nation building. More than the storehouse of knowledge, the university is the laboratory for research, cultivation and discovery of answers to the social, physical needs of society. You will all be aware of how much the works of universities have informed policies that have shaped countries and have revolutionized society, countries and societies through time. Much of the scientific and other discoveries that have revolutionized society owe their roots to the universities and to the collaboration between universities and either the state or private business. Unfortunately, in our country, there's hardly any evidence of the meaningful collaboration that needs to exist between the state and the universities. Perhaps one reason the role of academia has been downplayed is that we have allowed the abrasive political divisions to permeate our sacred campuses. Turn them into battlegrounds for partisan combat instead of havens for imbibing and dispensing knowledge. It is time, in my view, for all of us to wake up to the negative impact this has caused and make an effort to reverse the situation. We can begin fashioning a new relationship between state and academia that engages the expertise of academia in the process of policy formulation on a continuous basis. I have no doubt about how beneficial it will be for the country to create a unique quadrangle of experts from academia, business leaders, traditional leaders and cabinet, tasked to address the seemingly intractable problems of the economy. This could be the beginning of continuous collaboration between academia, the state, and captains of business in finding solutions to many of our social problems. For this to happen, however, we will need academia to win itself of gross partisanship and cultivate and enshrine a culture of rigorous objectivity. This should allow the universities as a collective responsibility to establish the right mechanism for rigorous continuous evaluation of the performance of national institutions and help inject some efficiency into the system. Help us inspire a new era in which the achievement of measurable national goals take precedence over the pursuit of personal gains. With an environment in which the state can reach out across party boundaries to draw on the patriotic service of its essence without attracting unwelcome labels. There's more than a silver lining ahead. Ghana remains one country in whom nobody can afford to lose confidence. Given the combined human and natural resources at our disposal and the heritage from which we have grown, we will only fail if we want to. And I don't believe there's any Ghanaian who contemplates failure anytime. Let's hope then that we will not give in to any doctrine of despair, but rise with the challenge to herald a new era for Ghana. Thank you. Let's go forward to glorious future. Thank you.
Dr. Otumfour.
Sir Chancellor, may I humbly pray your leave to stand on the protocol so established as our administered alumni. Your Royal Majesty Otumfour, Dr. Osei Tutu II, on behalf into the alumni fraternity. Your Royal Majesty, today you have become an alumnus of not just any university, but the #1 university in Ghana, the #1 in West Africa, and the #7 in the whole of Africa. You have every right to pride yourself in this. I know our friends from KMUST and others will not be happy, but that's what it is. UCC is the #1. Your Royal Majesty, you have also become an alumnus in a very good time, because next month, the Alumni Association is planning to launch the UCC Alumni Scholarship Scheme for Student Support. Initially, our target was 2 million cedis, but today we have changed our mind. Our new target is 3 million cedis. Your Royal Majesty, that goes to say that the extra 1 million is only yours. If you have your checkbook here, you can write it, or we come to mention. We'll talk about that. Please, let's take the alumni with Your Royal Majesty. So when I say I, you mention your name, then we take it from there. So I do solemnly pledge as an alumnus of my community and country. I promise to be a loyal ambassador. For my university. To promote her welfare. And maintain her reputation. I will endeavor in all my dealings. To be known as a person of honor. And repute. To bring respect to my alma mater. So help me God. Congratulations.
Otumfour.
Which has residents who are Ashantis in Cape Coast and here at the University of Cape Coast, have a presentation to make. And so I'll invite the Asante Proyepo to make their presentation. Dr. Yao, Osei.
Sir, Chancellor, Chairman of Council, Otumfour, Dr. Osei II, Sabariman, Dr. Besiata II, Vice Chancellor, Members of Parliament, Minister for Roads and Highways, faculty members, management staff of the university, students, traditional leaders, our friends from the media. It's a great honor to give a goodwill message on this occasion. We have received a thought-provoking speech from the King. So, you know, he said that there have been too many reforms in education, but his speech is a basis for another reform. So many questions were posed, and I was taking notes. Otumfour, your insights into education and what you have offered us today to be published, and I recommend that every graduate student of education must read this piece. Today, on behalf of the President of the Republic and on my own behalf, we congratulate you for the award of the Doctorate of Law degree, honoris causa. University of Cape Coast have done something great by honoring Otumfour. Said Chancellor, your university's record is there for the world to see. I went to Care University, so I get this all the time. When I go to Legon, they will say we are the premier university. And I told Legon the last time I cannot deal with them because my boss went to Legon. And now I'm going to Legon, so I can't go with that. Then when I come to Cape Coast and I hear the topmost university in Africa, how can education's question and education institution be the best in the world? I can't question that. We have done so much for the world, done so much for Ghana. We celebrate you every day. We have transitioned very well from education in other spheres of human endeavor, and you have received well-deserved commendations. The award of the doctorate. So standing here, he has actually worked for the degree. The research that went into the speech and how well he delivered it. Otumfour, I probably recommend that you get another doctorate degree. And I just want to finally say that for all of those who have gathered here, you gathered here to celebrate the great leader. And we are proud of the work that he has done for Asantuma, for Ghana, and for the world. So, Otumfour, today is your day. So I'll be a man of few words. I'll end here by saying congratulations.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister of Education, Dr. Yao, Osei, Tutu. Ladies and gentlemen, I would ask that you kindly help me acknowledge a few individuals who have graced this occasion for Dr. Osei Tutu II, the assignment. We duly acknowledge the Obama hymn, Osabarima Dr. Besiata II. Help me acknowledge the Chancellor of the University of Cape Coast, Dr. Sir Sam Ison Jonah. The Honorable Minister we duly acknowledge the Pro-Chancellor of UCC, Reverend Professor Harold Otumfour. The Pro-Vice-Chancellor, Professor Mrs. Rosamond Boahene. The Acting Registrar of UCC, Mr. Ebenezer Agri. We also acknowledge the Chairman of the Council of State, Dasibre Otosribo II. Help me acknowledge the Queen Mother of Obaman, Nana Ikuabochi VI. We also acknowledge Nana Professor of Nimabuachi Ete Otumfour. We are also acknowledging the High Commissioner of India to Ghana, His Excellency Manish Gupta. Help me acknowledge the Honorable Minister of Roads and Highways, Mr. Francis Asenso-Kwachia. We duly appreciate the presence of the Honorable Deputy Minister for Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, Madam Mavis Nkansa. We acknowledge the Honorable Member of Parliament for Cape Coast North Constituency, Dr. Pamela Mintaka. Help me acknowledge the former President of Pontifical Council for Justice and Peace, Vatican, His Eminence, Cardinal Peter Pijo-Apiatex. We acknowledge a Justice of the Supreme Court of Ghana, Her Ladyship Justice Barbara Aka-Yesu. We also acknowledge the Supervising High Court Judge Umasi Bishop, Justice Hannah Taylor. Help me acknowledge the Methodist Bishop of Cape Coast Diocese, Right Reverend Richardson Abwaji Andan. We have in our midst and duly acknowledge the former Electoral Commissioner and Chairperson of the 2024 Fashion Planning Committee, Mrs. Charlotte Osei. VC for Ghana Telecom University, Professor Emmanuel Mahini Afuapa. Professor Rita Akosia Gibson is Vice Chancellor, Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. We extend appreciation to the Vice Chancellor, Akente Apiaminka University of Skills Training and Entrepreneurial Development, Professor Frederick Bemusa. Professor Bebu Eyimwachi is Vice Chancellor, Cape Coast Technical University. We extend appreciation to the Vice Chancellor, Kokoria Technical University, Professor John Obusu. We acknowledge Dr. Cynthia Stella Pedro, Executive Secretary, Vice Chancellor Ghana. Dr. Moses McLean Adnori is Registrar for the Takrady Technical University. Mr. Michael Owusu Amoakon is Chief Director, Central Regional Coordinating Council. The Managing Director, Prudential Bank, Mr. Bernard J.B. The Central Regional Managing Director for GCB, Mr. Anthony Sowa. Duly acknowledge Mr. Kofi Koproko, Rep of the Managing Director for Zenith Bank. We also acknowledge the following council members: Professor Eric Anani, Convocation Rep, Professorial. Most Reverend Titus Abochi Prats. We acknowledge GCOP Patrick Edisei Sapon, retired. Let's acknowledge Dr. Jerry Okwansa, retired President. Mr. Vincent Kodosiabi is SRC President. Mr. Mohammed Ponson is Charles Rep. Mr. Robert Impim Namco is Grassa President. Mr. Samuel Dansuakoto is the President of the UCC Alumni Association, and Mr. Benjamin Frank Hagan is a table rep. We duly extend acknowledgement to former Vice Chancellors, Pro-Vice Chancellors, and Registrars. I'll begin with Reverend Professor Emmanuel Ado-Obe, he's a former Vice Chancellor. Professor Joseph Gatiampia is a former Vice Chancellor of UCC. Professor George K.T. Godro is a former Pro-Vice Chancellor UCC. Professor Doro Francisca Edukwando is a former Pro-Vice Vice Chancellor, UCC. We duly acknowledge Mr. Jeff Tay Mano Iname. He is the immediate past president. Professor John Nelson Bua is the former Pro-Vice Chancellor, UCC. We also acknowledge former Vice Chancellor, Cape Coast Technical University, Right Reverend Professor J.D. Obusu. Professor Moses Jojo Egan is the College of Agriculture and Natural Sciences Provost. Let's acknowledge him, please. We also acknowledge the Provost of the College of Humanities and Legal Studies, Professor Osei. We also acknowledge the Provost of the College of Health and Allied Sciences, Professor Martins Eko. We also acknowledge the Provost of the College of Distance Education, Professor Anochi Mohammed. Please help me acknowledge Professor Samuel Atudankan of KUA, MS. Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, at this point, I'll ask that you help me welcome our Chancellor to duly dissolve this congregation.
Vice Chancellors of sister universities, Honorable Central Regional Osei II, of members of the University Council, Honorable Minister of Education, Dr. Osei, Tutu, President, the Chairman of the National House of members of the Diplomatic Corps, Pro-Vice Chancellors, Pro-Vice Chancellors, and Pro-Vice Chancellors of sister universities, all other protocols observed. I wish to express my sincerest appreciation to all the distinguished honorary, the newly minted alumnus of this university, who is now an alumnus of this great university, and indeed all of us for honor and invitation to be here for this special congregation. It is now my pleasure and indeed my privilege to declare this assembly duly resolved. I wish you all safe journey between your
Your Royal Majesty, said Dr. Samson Jola, I would ask that you permit me to acknowledge Dr. Isaac Ohene. He is the former registrar of UCC. Thank you for being here, sir. I'll call on Reverend Professor Kankampuri to close the eyes with a closing prayer, after which we'll say the UCC anthem. Thank you.
Humbly, let us be on our feet as we register our appreciation unto the Most High God for what He has done for us today. And so, Father, once again, we register our appreciation unto you. We just start with your name, and this is how far you have brought us. Mighty God, above all, as we are about living, we are asking that your presence will go with us. Now the Lord bless us and keep us. The Lord keep His face to shine upon us and be gracious unto us. The Lord lift up His countenance upon us and give us peace this day and forevermore. In your name I pray with thanksgiving. Amen. Amen. Thank you very much.
Alright, so this Collins Media has been with you for hours, and this program ended successfully as the congregation
This is history.
Alright, now convoy I say Otumfour Osei Tutu the second at the buy and yes and get one and that from Puma my program no successful. Yes. Our Mukano my program is successful. And this is marvelous. Yes. So far so good. And viewers to me kind of home. End of this program. Other updates are home, so you'll be uploading. So stay tuned. Let's subscribe to this channel. Now I think so notification bell no what can you the videos via everyone one also on second that can notify woman on second what you here. So this is Collins Media once again. Madam Asibebre and Chibia and the live section of honoring His Royal Majesty Otumfour Osei Tutu the second. Yes.
Where will be that? This is the former will be that. This is the attack. This is the to be wrong. So I'm a king Ghana. There be there. Hey. There we are Casario, so the penny Casaria Massa. There we